Hello, 2,511 subscribers. I have closed $20,000+ worth of deals for my AI agency this September. This is the biggest month yet for my business. I will record a separate video where I will go in depth into what happened and how I achieved it. But today I want to share 3 things that I wish I knew that would 100% help me to achieve this milestone faster. Obviously, year and a half is not that long depending on your situation and experience, but I think you can do it faster if you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Usually your gurus, people that give you general advices on starting an agency, especially in the AI space. First is understand your niche, which is very important. It means that you need to understand your customers. If you narrow down your offering into one specific use case for one specific industry, you can speak the same language and you can understand special challenges that this specific business type can experience. Really good advice, right? Build case studies. Obviously, that's, super generic. You need the case studies, but what should you do with this advice? Like the same thing with focus on the client's ROI. I think if you are kind of have some sort of an experience in the real world, you understand that people will pay you money, especially businesses, if you provide them the value. And usually for this type of services, the value is money or time. Time is money, same thing. So they need to see the ROI. This is what you need to focus on your sales pitches, on your offering on the website, on the cold outreach, etc. So highlighting financial benefits clearly. Stay updated on the trends, very generic, right? To know what is possible right now in this era. Post content, depending again on the situation. I started to post content, 4 months ago, but I've been running an agency for more than a year and a half. So I wish I started earlier, but I will not give you this advice and I'll explain you why. Invest in marketing. This is very generic. It means that you need to put something to get something back. Again, guys, most of you will not like this advice because you are starting from nothing and you need to get something first to invest. I get it, but these are the type of things that we kind of all knew and know, right? So especially if you watched this video, if you watched any of my previous videos, you can see that I talk about a lot of the things in my videos, right? So I have 99 videos, and I have a lot of them that cover most of the things. So for example, for the niche, you can see that, I sold this AI employee to a landscaping company. So this is a very specific, use case for estimate generation for a very specific industry. Build the case studies. Here, I explain how I went about, offering my services without the case studies or, kinda getting them in information they need without actually providing the companies that I worked for. Again, go watch this video. I will obviously record more videos, so be subscribed. This is the use case where you can see how much automation can bring to the business. I was getting a lot of questions on how I would, charge even more than 4 figures for a simple automation. It's not super complex. It's very straightforward. Obviously, it's made on Make and Airtable. The hardest part is the custom script, which I am planning to record the video about, that will go to the websites and input the information on the websites. So go watch this video. But here I exclusively say that since this company had 4 employees that were doing this task, we were able to replace them with this automation. And obviously they still have a full-time guy that is tracking all these things, but this is kind of the type of the ROI you can look for. So stay up to trends, it's super obvious. Post content, I kind of talk about it here and how it helped me. I wouldn't say that I get a lot of clients from YouTube. I will record a separate video about it, but YouTube helps me a lot on the brand recognition and kind of the reputation when I hop on the calls with the cold prospects. Most of them still don't know me from the YouTube, even though I have in my signature kind of the YouTube, but I can always say, hey, I've recorded a video on the similar use case that we did for like a similar company. Here it is. And obviously when they see, 2,000 subs, it's not a lot, but especially for a niche content, it's really good. And I really, really found an increase in the closing rate and in the type of questions that I get. Right now, I don't really get the questions like, how I can make sure that you will deliver the results, or tell me why you are great for the company. Like these are kind of generic questions that company ask. They're not asking like exactly this type of questions, but usually they, because they are polite, it's kind of might be confusing for most people to ask something like that. So they are like doing some workarounds, but this is kind of the information that they were looking for. And I felt it when I was, first reaching out to, thousands and thousands of companies when I was starting out. Right now, since my second or third email after the initial cold outreach, provide them the information not only with the case studies on the website, but also as a YouTube, I don't get that much, we can call it negativity from the companies. It's not negativity. It's like, it's normal. I would do the same thing and you would do if you would hire someone. Okay, guys, so these are kind of very, very generic advices that we all know and I knew. Most of us still like don't do that. We still don't post the content. We understand the niche, but we, don't usually go in depth. So we know everything, but sometimes we do that, sometimes we don't. For this video, I decided to go in depth and give you some more specific information or more like touch points that you can actually, things that you can actually implement in your journey like tomorrow. Okay. And this is what I was looking for. I wish I had, someone like me when I was starting out. I'm actually saying that I'm the greatest AI YouTuber of all time. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I genuinely think so. Maybe that's my ego, but I wish, I had someone like me. I wish I had, but I made a lot of the mistakes, and here is what, could save me from them. So the advice can depend on obviously your situation as well as the niche that you go after, but let's categorize them on 3 different parts: getting the clients, closing the clients, and building a solution, the final thing, like deliver the results. So here's my advice on getting the clients. Start with cold outreach. There are multiple ways to get the clients, right? You can start with, just like freelance platforms, which is, I think, is really good way. And I recorded a video somewhere where I explain a lot of different ways. Like I'm still like confused about my own videos. Anyways, so I give you some sort of a map of different ways you can get the clients. For example, like the freelance platforms, or for example, like the content or the paid ads with lead magnets, or the network and partnering with like other like marketing agencies. There are a lot of different ways. And obviously for the cold outreach, you have the emails, you have the phone calls, right? And you have the DMs. So depending on your niche, you should like choose the right one. But I specifically think that you should start with the cold outreach to get a feeling. So let's say like if you are serious about, making money and selling AI automations, agents, whatever. So the first thing that you need to do is to choose the right niche, to kind of understand the solution that you would offer to this niche. And then when you do the cold outreach, you start talking to people. And you can see here that I have, it's kind of connected, talk to as many people and businesses as you can. Like, okay, to be honest, I understood it right away, but if I knew the scale, I would like invest more money into my cold email infrastructure and would even send more emails. Obviously, if you watch the video, where I explain how I signed my first client here, I sent whatever, like 60, 70, 80,000 emails to sign him. But then I kind of, I was doing the cold outreach in stages. I would never stop. I would find more money and invest it there. At first, I did have, maybe 4 to 5 sales calls per day because I was getting a lot of replies since my offering was pretty generic. And yes, most of the prospects were not qualified. You can see on the video that I, say whatever, like these are from like numbers from my head. I don't like remember the exactly. You can go watch here. But I would hop on like 100, maybe 150 sales calls and maybe like 80, whatever, like somewhere in that area. Like I hopped on a lot of the calls to close one client. So my closing rate was horrible, primarily because the prospects were not qualified, right? Since my offering was generic, and I could nurture them down by the second email, or by asking them to kind of go through. I mean, if I would ask to go through the website, obviously they would not do that. So by like probably second or third email. But I would not do that, even if with all of the things that I understand right now, because it gave me a lot of the understanding on what businesses need. And I have a huge library of kind of sales calls and my notes from the calls that I am like still using. Since I was targeting a lot of different niches, I did not follow my own advice and like generic advice to go in depth into one niche. I was testing a lot of different things. But that was, I think, what gave me an ability to see what's out there. And since it was pretty early, right now, businesses, and business owners kind of understand AI a bit more, not on technical side, more in the more in like understanding that it can benefit the business. Maybe some of their competitors started to use it in some way, so it's a bit easier to sell them right now in terms of giving an overview that some of the things that they need can be done through the AI. Obviously, there's more competition right now and it's still early, but it's easier. But my advice would be to try to talk to as much clients as you can through the cold outreach. Because if you do, you can do the paid ads, but this is a whole separate kind of industry. You need to first, obviously, I do still think that you need to invest the money into the infrastructure, either a cold, for the cold emails. For the cold calls, you don't need to invest anything besides the time, maybe in the CRM. But for the cold DMs, you need the kind of the software. If you are serious about it. For the emails, you need the proper infrastructure. So I would invest as much as you can and try to go for one niche with one use case, and try to hop on a lot of the sales calls. And essentially, you're doing the custom development, right? Even if you haven't sold anything, you can pretend that you did, and you will get a lot of feedback from these businesses, and they will ask you a lot of different questions that you might not even thought about it, right? And you might craft your offer depending on what most of them asking, right? And then when you hop on even more sales calls, when you have a more precise offer to this specific niche, you will eventually close the client 100%, right? So my kind of, and this is specifically applied for the cold outreach. You might think, oh, let's hop on the calls with some random dudes from Discord that are also building an agencies. It might be beneficial, especially when you're starting out, and to understand what other people are doing. but it will not give you an idea on what businesses need, what they are looking for, and kind of what you can offer to this specific niche. And the benefit of doing this in cold, if you're starting out, you don't have kind of the incoming traffic, is that they have no idea that you exist and that you can help them. So at the same time, you are developing your cold sales experience, right? So you are getting a feeling of how to present your offer to the businesses so that they like it, and more importantly, so that they understand it. Because yes, sure, most of the things that we build for the businesses are helpful, 100%. But if no one knows about it, or if no one understands it, right, no one's gonna buy it. So this is my first advice. The second advice on the closing clients is be confident. This is kind of not something that I think you can train. It comes from the experience, right? But I noticed a huge difference when I have my past recordings, when I was not confident in what I'm selling. And this is like very important thing I wanted you to understand. I don't want like to be overconfident, like how to properly explain it. There are some guys, especially in the SMMA space, when they talk to the businesses, and I am a business owner myself, right? So I hired a lot of them, marketing agencies for my e-commerce brand. I was hiring a lot of designers, like website developers, and the Amazon specialists. I was dealing with a lot of different kind of service-based businesses. And when they were, maybe that's just me, but when they were selling, yeah, sure, like we can do that for sure. Like you will see 4x, 400x ROI. You will be shocked on what the results that we drive. It sounds fake, okay? This is like overconfidence. The confidence, from my understanding, is that saying, yes, we can drive the results by, and giving them kind of a punchline of how you can do that without going technical. So for example, when business looking for, a database reactivation, whatever, you can first say, hey, yeah, we can do that. We did it for like 20 clients and we'll bring like $100,000 to your revenue and you will be happy, like whatever. Maybe it will work. Maybe. I never tried it myself, right? But maybe it will work, but I don't think so, especially with like bigger businesses, with the guys that kind of understand how the market and business works, okay? But what I was doing is like, I was like on another spectrum. I was kind of, yeah, sure, we can do that. I mean, obviously it depends on the quality of the leads and the database that you have. See, so I was like saying that we can do that, but I was like saying but, a lot of buts, right? So buts. So but this, but like that. And there's nothing wrong with it. I am always trying to be honest. And you guys, I think the only thing that you can tell about me as a YouTuber is that I may be the most honest, one of the most honest like person in the space. So I'm the same guy in real life, and I'm trying to be the same on the sales calls, right? If I'm not confident in something, and I'm not, when this is the first interaction with the business, how can I be confident that I can drive the results to the company if I haven't done it before? And you might say, yeah, Yuji, because you haven't done it before. But I might already do, like maybe I already did the database reactivation, but for another company, for like slightly different industry. Even like I had a video on the YouTube channel, which is kind of deleted. It was by the YouTube. It was somewhere here where I explain, how you can sell the AI like database reactivation to the businesses. So and it was specifically built around like insurance use case. So I might build something for a long-term care insurance, but then when I'm talking to the business insurance guys, their audience is a bit different. And I was saying kind of like, yeah, but we did this, and I was even saying that, yeah, like we did work with the industry, but not exactly. It's kind of the different audience. So I was giving a lot of buts, and maybe for you guys, it's obvious, but for me, I'm not sure how to explain it. Yeah, like I knew that I don't need to do that. But my bet was on honesty, right? So that they will like me and they will like the honest, like for me being honest. And I got like not a lot, but a few responses like, yeah, thanks for Eugene, like for being honest, thanks for like explaining everything, but they didn't like purchase any service from me. So this is kind of like a spectrum from being over positive and over promising to being kind of confident but saying things that might seem like you're not sure. That's why you need to be pretty clear with what you can offer and pretty clear with the results that they're gonna get. You can give a range, right? But you should be confident in the actual kind of the ROI that they're gonna get. So for example, like, yeah, we did multiple projects like this, and I'm pretty confident that you will see great results with the database reactivation, especially in the insurance space. And now you need to have an experience, to try to and explain, yeah, especially in the insurance space where people are skeptical. They have a lot of different options, and you need to explain the pricing. So this is where talk to as much clients as you can through the cold outreach comes in handy, right? So more clients you talk to, more things you notice from the industry. And by saying, yeah, so you should expect somewhere between 2 to like 4% reply rate or whatever. Like if you have the average order value of like $3,300 for like smaller insurance guys, whatever, you might like expect an increase of $3,000 to $10,000 in revenue. Again, these are like some random numbers from my head, but you can see that I am saying that I'm confident that the results will be delivered and you will see the value. But it's just on the spectrum, like the difference of the value might vary depending on the details that we will ask this business later, right? But in order to get all these details about their audience, to share their offer, you need to to show them that you can deliver the results, okay? So this is the second thing. And the third thing, which I also think very important, you can see that I have here hire per project basis after you sold something. It means that you should hire, like I would change it right now. So the advice here is that when you are, let's say, sold something, when you're hiring like for like help, maybe like if you're not able to do the task yourself, you might hire or outsource the project to some other like freelancer or an agency. We work with some guys that outsource the projects to us, and I hire a lot of like different developers for very specific tasks, not related to AI or conversational design or like the automation itself. It's more like on the back end and the server side. So I don't believe in like our work. Maybe I don't like trust the guys. So usually when you hire them, you should kind of explain them, give the technical details and the task that you're looking for. They'll give you the price to solve the task, and then you'll pay the task and you'll pay for it and they'll solve it. Because some of them might say that you need to pay the hourly, we'll see how it goes, all these things. I think you will like overpay usually, but this is not the actual advice that I was trying to give you, because when I started the video I thought that it's going to be better. Stop learning how to develop things and start actually trying to sell it. So I see, again, since I'm like super successful huge AI influencer, I get questions here and there in my DMs on the things like people are asking different things, asking for advice, and I see what they do, how they're going through the journey. And I see that a lot of the guys, even for the comments, now not only in my videos but on like other YouTubers, I see that a lot of the guys are kind of trying to go really, really in depth into, let's say, voice flow, or into the automating certain things, using just make, and going really in depth into like certain like modules or certain parameters for certain integration. And when I see this type of a question, I think either or. It's either the guy or the girl is already have a client, right, and developing the solution for the client. That's why they're looking for a solution. Or they are like at the very, very beginning stage. They just, actively procrastinating. Not sure what's the correct like word for it, but the idea is that here we are trying to learn a tool without knowing how we can actually sell it. That's why I was always saying that you need to understand the basics. So for example, when it comes to agent building platforms, whatever, right? So from the voice flow to the flow wise to the end, you need to understand what's possible. And you can do that through like watching YouTube videos. You should spend some time yourself trying to maybe, build something yourself. You'll see if you are like able to do this task yourself, and then stop. And yeah, I understand what you might say, and then like start selling it. But you might say, hey Eugene, you're like, how do I sell it if I don't even understand it? Maybe that's just me, but I was able, after watching like hundreds of hours of like YouTube content, I was able to understand how like AI can be applied in like HVAC company, or how AI can potentially be implemented in like dental clinic, whatever. You can ask ChatGPT for help, obviously, but when you understand it, so then you can, okay, so this is kind of the use case. This is how I can go about the use case. There are different tools here and there. And then you need to start reaching out to the businesses offering this thing, right? And offering to the final thing, and trying to charge them, which is kind of really advanced if you have an experience in sales, or trying to kind of offer something for the case study, build something for free. So you need to have a real life experience, because the difference between like building an automation for like imaginary client and actually building something for like a real client is huge. The difference is huge. And you will learn a lot when building like for an actual project. And it's obviously can happen that like you will not be able to do certain thing for the project that you already received, right? So maybe the client already paid you for the prototype or whatever, and you're not able to do that yourself. That's where this advice comes in handy, right? So you would pay for someone per like project, you would outsource it, and maybe you can technically kind of not like hire another coach or whatever. Like so this is what we did one time when we were connecting to what was the name of the ERP? I forgot. So we hired like a developer for this specific system, but he developed the solution, but I paid him a bit more so that he has 1 hour call with my developers from my team, which are not like full-time, they're still part-time, and explain them how like this specific system worked, because I knew that I like would have more clients using the same system, and I don't want to pay this guy more because I would rather pay my developers. And this is how you would call it, like a freelancer / coach or like tutor, whatever. So there are different ways how you can go about fulfilling the project if you're not sure yourself on how to do that, but you need to have it, right? So you need to have something that you sold, and maybe even if they didn't pay you money, if you're like building something for, like let's say a case study, maybe you will invest like $100 to hire a freelancer that will do it for you, so that you have it, that you can, especially if you go narrow into one niche, even like one solution can be very helpful that you can show on the sales call to like the different business and say, hey, like we can do exactly the same thing for you. Okay, so these are 3 things that I wish I knew, and I kind of knew them, but I was not going in depth into understanding each one and understanding how important they might be. If you want to get more content from me on the weekly basis, I run a newsletter, first link in the description. Also, if you want to get access to my resource hub, where you can see all the information, like this is here. So all of the resources that I have for all of the videos, all the templates and blueprints, it's available for free. Again, the link in the description. So go maybe follow me on Instagram, whatever. I started to post content there regularly. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, peace.